Everybody, and welcome here to another Kerfuffle Showcase, and I am delighted as ever to have with me Bex and Tom from DCTR. How are you guys?
Yeah,
we're very good.
Very good. Thank you, Simon.
All the better
I'm
for seeing
working on
you.
the basis that that's actually a real background I can see, and it's wonderful just to, as we go into these colder climes, to see that you are giving us the warmth back as you two always do.
Yeah, well, that's it, because we don't turn the heating on anymore. We just have that nice aesthetic of heat instead.
Oh, do you remember the days when you could afford heating? Oh, wow. That's
beautiful days.
Way back when.
Yeah.
So look how seamlessly I'm going to do this, from virtual heating to virtual staging.
Nice. Virtually perfect, that is.
I know, I've worked on that for a while here. Guys, we caught up earlier in the year, and you were launching a whole new area there, and this is another element of this, isn't it? This virtual staging. Do you want to just give us an idea for the people that don't know out there? What is it, first of all, that you're bringing to the marketplace, or in fact have already brought to the marketplace, but we want to bring out to a wider audience now?
Yeah, so we brought out something called Virtual Furnishing Studio Collection, and it's the next phase in what we launched back in March, which is our brand new platform. So we're famous for having the Dr. Photo platform. We've had it now for about 7 years, and back in March we brought out the new Dr. Photo platform. In it has AI photo enhancing. It has about 50 other creative services, and one of those is virtual furnishing. And we've offered virtual furnishing now for a couple of years, but this new innovation that we brought out now is called Virtual Furnishing Studio Collection. And it's basically a collection of 50 plus styles of furniture that people can select when they upload their photos and want to furnish their rooms, their photos of rooms virtually.
Mm-hmm. And this style collection actually includes a lot of interior design trends. So we've actually researched and focused on 2022's interior design trends and tried to fit them into these furniture sets. So these include boho, minimalism, cottagecore, it's retro, you name it. So we fitted it all in to make sure that it's really bang on trend.
So nobody has to do any thinking about that for themselves. You've done all the hard work, looking at my minimalist, my favorite minimalist trends and everything else there. And essentially you've served these all up on a plate. And then from that point of view, they can just pick and choose, mix and match how they want to, yeah? Yeah,
absolutely. So we make it super easy for agents and developers to stage their homes in a really effective and on-trend way. Yeah. Because I think you could argue that even with physical staging, as lovely as it can be quite beige, and there's a sea of sameness often when it comes to the kind of the staging industry. And whilst we've got a few safe options in there, obviously, actually what we also have is some really quite cool and funky stuff that are going to help your photos and therefore your houses stand out when they're looking through Rightmove and Zoopla. So the point of that is that every house and home is different. It's all got to, when you look at the vendor and the target market, you want to draw out that character and the lifestyle. And staging traditionally often doesn't, it's really beautiful sofas and some flowers, but it doesn't necessarily talk to people on kind of more of an emotional kind of basis. So Bex and her amazing team, and obviously me and my amazing interior design skills too, have been looking at the market and actually like what's really quite cool at the moment and on trend. So as you say, we've gone through some of those. I mean, if you'd like to explain what cottagecore is, that might help, Simon.
Of course.
I was going to just try and blag it all the way through.
Cottagecore, yeah.
Minimalist is easy. Boho, I'm all over boho. Talk to us about some of the trends, because I'm guessing a lot of people I think would be conscious that developers have been much more prevalent doing this kind of thing here. And one of the questions I was going to say is that you're very much seeing this trend extending out with estate agents now as well, aren't you? Which is of course critically important for our audience here.
Exactly, and we want to kind of guide the estate agents as well, just because we want to just give advice in terms of interior design. And like Tom said, we don't have to just go safe in grey and beige. You could just do snippets and subtle elements of colour that really enhances the room.
Yeah.
So cottage core, for example, it might be self-explanatory in terms of cottage. So you're thinking traditional wooden, shabby chic features, but then you've also got the knitwear. It's almost the blankets, the flowers, the pampas grass, the things like this that really kind of brings the room to life. Obviously boho, we've got, you know, rattan furniture, we've got lots of, again, pampas grass, and we've got lots of woven features. But we also we've got the minimalism, we've got the black and white statement features, including gold chandeliers. You can go even high end. We wanted to make sure that, yes, not everyone is going to have a new build and not everyone's going to have a blank canvas. You're going to have features within the room that you need to really complement. And if it is like a old traditional countryside cottage, you still need those room sets that really complement them, as well as having, you know, a first-time buyer, maybe an IKEA-esque style that, you know, you just want to show that can be presented in that way. So it's bringing the balance between, you know, every demographic that we wanted to show.
I see. And how do people ultimately end up using this? Is this purely just a visualization tool, or do they take it on from there as well to the ultimate, I suppose, delivery of that dream as well? How does that all take place? Is it literally just to get them in the mode, in the right place, or can they go further?
So the first viewing anyone makes is online, so it's super important, because the photo is ultimately the first thing that's being served up, that people get that oomph and are more likely to click. You want them to click through to learn more about that property and ultimately go for that second viewing.
Yeah.
And for us, it's like the photo, we're Dr. Photo, like it's so important to an agent these days, and it just helps them stand out, helps them instantly give an impression and a lifestyle of that property, as well as also, to be honest and quite frank, we often get a lot of people that speak to us about saying, actually, we're getting a lot of people, in fact, we had it yesterday, we get a lot of people just not interested in this apartment because of its shape, and people can't work out how furniture is meant to go in, you know, and we're trying to explain it to them.
Yeah.
And we think that having a simple set of photos there will instantly show them how it can all be laid out and visually how it's going to work. Because
it is difficult to understand on a 2D floor plan. If you're looking at a floor plan and just seeing a little symbol that showed a sofa, you don't know how big that sofa is. Yeah. You don't know if you wanted an L shape or something like that. To bring it to life in a photo is so much easier for people. So it's got a functional role as well as an emotional role when you look at virtual furnishing and the things that it does for an agent.
And the emotion is all important, obviously, when you're looking to buy property, of course, isn't it? I mean, that's ultimately what you're trying to recreate to get people engaged enough to get along and see that. And are you able to get any actual? Is it too early to find out? Do these, when they are virtually staged like this, do they get much higher click-through rates and things like that, or is it not that? Is it not that scientific?
There have definitely been many studies and continue to be so. In fact, there was something a couple of years ago done by UPAD that looked at amateur photos that were taken of the same apartment that was unfurnished versus better standard pro photos of that same apartment with furniture in it, and they found that it had 6 times as many click-through rates. They actually broke that up, so they actually went from amateur to pro, and then they added the furniture, and each time they did that, the number of click-throughs improved. So it plays a role when it comes to property marketing and getting attention and encouraging people to click through. But we actually find a lot with our clients that it plays a really big role when it comes to bringing new vendors on. So it's a service that actually, despite being out there now for quite a few years, a lot of people still aren't aware of it. And it's seen as fairly unique. So even when it comes to outside of the new homes arena, which this tends to be its bread and butter, we have a service that is similar that's called restaging. And again, it's with the same furniture sets, but when a estate agent goes into property and they think, you know what, this is a beautiful place, but it's just let down, unfortunately, by the furniture. We can retouch that stuff out and put new room sets in. And actually, I mean, if you're very subtle and nice about it, and you're there as the professional, property marketeer that you are, then selling in this service to your client can actually be of really great value, and it differentiates you from another agent that walks through the door and just says, you know, we're going to take some nice photos of your crappy furniture.
Because it really can transform the whole room, can't it? It really does. Like you said, it's personal, so it changes the whole thing when you just change the furniture within the space.
Yeah.
How and what I think you said when we were talking off camera previously, you were talking about you had anticipated doing kind of 5 a week or something like that?
So I mean, in terms of like the growth that we see now, I mean, right now we're the busiest that we've ever been with virtual furnishing. I think we're on this sort of trend. In fact, there was an email that came out from trends.co, which is that trends email that goes out every day. Yeah, it's outside of property, it's just everything. And one of the things that they talked about was virtually staging property. So I think we're on a bit of a wave at the moment from a service point of view. Not that any of my competitors are hearing that, but it's certainly, I mean, the point is that we're going into a market right now where we're finding that our clients are having to work harder. And that's where Doctor comes in. I mean, that's what we're there to help them with, and to improve their property marketing so their houses stand out online. And so, this is one of the services that we think will help them generate new vendors, but also help them sell their properties.
Because a lot of people, being unkind, would have said, yeah, in the last couple of years, you can just whack it onto Rightmove and obviously do the rest. That's awfully unfair, of course. But we do know we're coming into a much more challenging market now, and that need to add more value to differentiate itself has never been more, has it? So I can absolutely see why you are, you know, so busy in this area. Clearly, kind of, there have been virtual staging kind of propositions out there previously, haven't there? Why do you think they haven't captured the imagination? Has it been the difficulty of creating them? Has it been that, you know, sometimes, like famously with QR codes, it wasn't the right time, whatever else? What was the reason that you think now is the time for that?
I personally think it's all personal things. Like you said, we've taken months to create these furniture sets, and it's all because we're going into the detail. So the accessories within the sets are relevant to what the actual interior design trend is. So we're even adding headphones, magazines that are appropriate for the sets. Whereas I feel like in the past, it's been too basic. It's been too, you know, grabbing random sets and putting them together. And it's not showing the emotion and showing the personal touch that you need to sell the house.
So I've seen Tom's bins before, all very funky and cool. So I can understand they can. Is that boho? Just so or am I just completely?
Boho in, yeah, you can put them in. I mean, we've even put Tom's hat in one of them. So
all as so if I'm getting it right, there, the science has been there, the technology has been there, but actually that kind of engagement, the content just hasn't been right to capture. Yeah, I suppose to capture people's imagination in the way that you need to. You do need to have the two together, don't you?
Yeah, I think so. And I think that's what makes us unique as a team, because we've got within our team 3 interior designers. And I think that having that softer approach to, you've got the skills in 3D, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're a designer. So you might be good at rendering the stuff out, but actually you need to know what's going to work in that space. And so we have quite a hands-on approach. I mean, when it comes to ordering the product, virtual furnishing, you can do it without talking to us, but also actually we do, occasionally email, we'll have phone calls and we'll chat about the space, especially if the agent thinks that the vendor has something really specific in mind. So it's important to note, actually, we do have a bespoke service, which is not much more expensive, but it's a tiny bit more expensive, where people will submit Pinterest, Instagram photos, stuff they love and they want us to match. And so we'll match that style. So we work with some rather large developers too, and they've got very, very specific ideas when it comes to interior design. And so we,
I was going to say, is it much different from from the agency side to the developers, or are there just overall common trends as you would expect?
I would say developers certainly will work us incredibly hard when it comes to matching a specific style. So I would argue that our studio collection, 95% of the clients that go down that route, choosing a furniture type, will be an estate agent, because it's sort of served to you on a plate. What you said is a great term, is served to you on a plate. So you don't have to think about it, just choose a style, looks great. Majority of developers will have a what do you call it?
A design pack,
a design pack, and so when it comes to everything from soft furnishings, but also light fittings, and it has to be absolutely spot on, which is fair enough. It's there to reflect their brand and to reflect a wider scheme, and so we work a little bit harder to draw out the specific bits of furniture there to match when it comes to working with the developer.
So we've looked at the kind of what is it, and obviously why do it. That all becomes clear now. So talk us through the how. How do people get on board? What's the process? How easy is that whole side of things to actually get working with the proposition once you want to?
So, I mean, you can do it within 5 minutes of leaving this webinar. So you simply go onto our website, you register onto the Dr. Photo platform.
Yeah.
You drag and drop your photos. You're served with a couple of services. You would select virtual furnishing, and then you're given the opportunity to go down the studio collection route. Choose a style that you like. Give us a couple of, a sentence of instructions, and you're good to go. We do ask people to upload a floor plan at the same time, so which you can attach as an additional file. And once you've done that, it comes through into our queue. We work on it. 9 times out of 10, we won't speak to you. But if we're not quite sure, or if we want some more information, then we'll pick up the phone. We'll work on it, and then we serve it back. Within 1 to 2 days. We're fairly quick. And when it comes to, is there anything else that I've missed? I think that's pretty much it, isn't it? Yeah. Occasionally, we do get people work outside of the Dr. Photo platform. That's fine. We're still human beings. So if someone's got a really big order, they're very, very specific, then we'll just work like we do as a studio anyway with our other projects. But it's really, really simple.
It does sound really, really simple, and especially in terms of the turnaround time and everything else, that's really, really good. And that gives you one specific style, doesn't it? There, so is that right? You don't bounce between the different styles or anything else like that.
Yeah. So once you've dragged and dropped your photos, you can filter by room type, by style. And you can go through all 50 different styles, and you just select one. If you can't be bothered, and frankly, we do have about 30% of people that can't be asked, which is fine. There is a doctor decide, and it's a lovely picture of Rob who decides.
Yeah.
And basically, so occasionally, if you just really don't know, we don't frankly care, then we will actually do all the caring for you, and it doesn't cost anymore. It just means that we'll find something that we think is going to work with that space.
And just to put your credentials again there, you are, as I understand, a preferred supplier to Savills as well, aren't you? So I mean, that's an incredibly hard job, aren't they? Because they do have very exacting standards and everything else there. So that should put a lot of people's minds at rest in terms of the work there, even if they didn't know you as a business. That says a lot about the service that you provide.
Yeah, definitely. So we've been a preferred supplier for many services, but specifically for virtual furnishing, there's only 2 of us that are allowed to furnish for them. We work with lots of large developers too. So Berkeley Homes is one of our biggest clients when it comes to this service and retouching and things like that. and quite loads of other big developer clients, on a national and also on an international basis. But certainly, I think still our bread and butter is estate agents, and we've worked with many different agents over the years. So lots of the, I guess, the big hitters, the wonderful brands out there like Madison's, Complete, all of these guys that really do take, Nickel and Co, guys that take real pride in their property marketing. Generally, we'll have a relationship with them, and we will have worked with them, on a monthly basis.
They want to go that extra yard, don't they? Improving,
Yeah, they do.
Not just talking the talk about, so actually delivering that for their own clients.
I think they do. Yeah, absolutely. And they're all of these guys are return clients, and we both are quite discerning in our approach. We're not the cheapest out there, but we don't want to be. We want to be, best value that we can possibly be to make it worthwhile for everybody. But equally, we are slightly, in terms of our quality and our standards, we think we're a cut above.
Because so in terms of having the studio decide, let doctor decide, I feel like the experience that we've got now in the past, I think you're in safe hands if you do choose the doctor decides option.
Yeah, that experience, hard one, is now being delivered back to the clients as well there. And ultimately, I mean, we've spoken about the developers and obviously the agents themselves. Do you get feedback from the public at large around this sort of stuff? Are you able to get kind of ultimately hear what people feel about that as a service? Because I'm imagining that's going to be quite positive from a discerning buyer out there.
Yeah, definitely. A few different ways, I guess. There are often cases, for example, where we are asked to work directly with the vendor, and actually the agent becomes that kind of middle person, but they just hand the vendor over. So often vendors get really excited about it, sometimes overexcited, and they are like really keen. But yeah, I mean, there's never really
you're able to manage that exuberance.
Yeah, there's never really been a time where anyone's been disappointed with what we do. I think the other point is that we know it works. So there's another kind of next step on from virtual furnishing, which is where you want to stipulate very clearly from a Property Misdescription Act, but we can knock down walls. And we can basically do anything you want to that photo. And I had a year or two ago where I worked with a guy, Richard James, down south, on a stuck apartment, which is quite an expensive high-end apartment, but the kitchen was awful, like it was dreadful. It was a couple of £1 million apartment by the sea, beautiful, but the kitchen was just tiny. And so what the agent wanted to do, and in fact what he said to the vendor, the reason he won the business was that he was able to say to the vendor that he could visualize for potential purchasers what it would look like to knock down the wall in the bathroom and create a kitchen and sell the dream basically. And he won that business. And I remember the EA Masters the other year, he tapped me on the shoulder and said, "You earned me 12 grand commission," because he won the job off the back of saying it without wondering if we could even do it. And then we're able to do it. He then sold the apartment, and he won it off another agent because it was sticking. So it was all because of that. Maybe I should have charged him more, I don't know. But the point is that when those guys were looking at that imagery and looking around the house, and he was able to sell the story, I guess at that point that it's playing a really important role, because they're able to imagine what it could look like if they invested a bit of cash and transformed it into something else. And I think feedback generally is very good. Like, the cool thing with our job is that because it's so visual with everything we do, I mean, people they generally get quite excited by it, and it always raises a smile. And virtual furnishing particularly is one of those that can raise a smile with people.
I think it's such an obvious one, isn't it, going forwards? And I'm really excited to see where it can go. And I think one of the things we need to discount straight away as well, isn't it, is the price point for this is really affordable, isn't it? So do you want to just give a context? We'll talk about it obviously for our fantastic Kerfuffle members here, but just give us an idea in terms of how the pricing works for this.
It's very, very simple. With all of Dr. Photo products that we ever do on the platform, it's always on a per unit basis.
Yep.
So it's on a per photo basis for virtual furnishing. We don't charge a subscription. There's no minimum order or anything we do. So you can order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10. We've had orders of 50, and it's £32 plus VAT per photo. Which actually, if you balance that against the cost of actually staging one of these places yourself, I mean, generally it works out, at least £1,000 a week is quite normal for the industry. So it is affordable when you look at it that way.
Very much so, yeah. Very much so. So that leaves me to the important question. Oh, we didn't say it. There's 25% off for Kerfuffle members as well, didn't we? So that's
100%. So
100% off. Wow, that's amazing, Tom. That's
right, anyone, if you want a free trial, give me a go. Just speak to me. In all honesty, I'm happy to do the first one free for you. But equally, we'll also offer 25% off up until the end of October.
That's brilliant. Well, that's cool. We'll get this.
That brings the price to £24.
I think that suck it and see thing is really important, though, isn't it? Because understanding what this can do, and maybe people have thought, well, that's not my part of the market. It's, let's be honest, it's everyone's part of the market, as long as you're dealing with people who have struggle visualizing what homes may look like. So
yeah, absolutely. So just make sure in the instructions, if they don't speak to us first, just put Kerfuffle in the instructions, and then we'll pick it up.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Tom. So talk to me and then about it. So Bex, what's your favourite trend then? What's the one, if I need to be bluffing people about, what's the trend that you would be opting for at the moment?
For me, it's actually retro. I'm going back to the 70s. So it's all about dark woods. It's all about also, which actually coincides with sustainability. That is obviously the main thing at the moment. So we've got a selection that has sustainable woods to show more of the eco-friendly side. So for me, it's retro. So it's the dark wood, bolder, more like darker oranges, auburn colours, autumn colours as well, because we're going into September after October. So for me, I really like that look, and it's like right angles, making sure that everything is symmetrical. That's my kind of look that I really like. And it's nice that you could show that throughout the house. If you've got a living room to do as well as a bedroom, it can be so different but have the same theme. So then you've kind of got this throughout the house, so you understand that, okay, this is the theme of the house.
I was going to ask you on that question. How many rooms in general do people have? Is it normally just one, or do they go on and have multiple photos and sometimes the entire home done?
Oh, definitely. There's some people that do multiple views of each of the rooms as well. So say if you've got a whole open plan kitchen, living, diner, they actually would do multiple angles, so you can see the kitchen, you can see the dining room, see the living room, to make sure you can understand the whole environment and understand it all coincides with each other. Even just the touches, we do kitchens very often, but it's obviously we're not doing the kitchen units and things like that because that's already in there, but it's actually adding, breadboards, fruit bowls and coffee machines and washing machines to make sure it actually looks livable. Because like you said, some people just can't visualize it, come to life, and that's the whole point. So
that we would call part furnishing. So it worked out slightly cheaper. There's not necessarily a set cost for it, but obviously we wouldn't charge the full cost for something that needs one or two objects. But Jack back there has basically, we've got a suite of thousands of just accessory models, which we kind of drag and drop and blender, and then we'd render it out on the photo, and it's it can make a really, really big difference to a place that already has furniture in, but it's not staged. So adding a blanket over the sofa, a nice vase of flowers. I mean, we do have some agents, for example, that it's consistent with their order. They ask for flowers, the fireplace to be lit, art above the fireplace. I mean, it's nearly every other day the same agent will be asking for the same thing. There's a consistency with their marketing, and that's where we come in handy, I guess, because we can do that.
Good. And what about yourself, Tom? What's the trend that's caught your eye?
Probably dungeon. Everything dark.
I've got the home for you.
The kerfuffle I particularly like.
Yeah, puts the lotion on its back, isn't it? That was the phrase. So what
boho for me? Boho is probably when it comes to our collection, like I think the cut through, the look that looks most kind of aspirational, on trend, like really transforms an empty space. The furniture that we've used across those room sets and the different room types, boho is the coolest. So it's got loads of, what do you call that wood?
Woven
wood.
Wicker
wood, that's the one. Wicker wood, lots of planting, freshening it up with some nice plants. Art is also really quite cool and abstract. And for me, yeah, boho.
Okay, that's cool. And I'm guessing as well, if properties are sticking for whatever reason, this is another way to reinvigorate that marketing side of things, isn't it? Isn't that to bring it back? It's been on there a period of time. It's like speak to the vendor and say, well, look, we've got an idea how we can actually, you know, maybe engage with that audience out there. And of course, get away from that common thing where people get used to seeing the same properties on websites and the portals, don't they? And just almost subliminally skip past it. This is going to be something that brings them right back to that, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So I think, yeah, swapping out that front photo as well. So it's a great opportunity that if you, for example, you've been running with that front exterior for the last couple of months and nothing's happening, as you're swapping out and going to that lovely, beautiful kitchen view that we can then stage because it's empty or it's not got the nice bits and pieces. We'll often have nice big vases of flowers which are kind of in the foreground, and you can see the garden out the back. You know, that I think instantly will generate along, if you have to go with a price drop, but if you're going to go with a price drop, also always accompany it with a change in your marketing. So this is a really nice and simple and affordable way to do that.
Well, and at least you're being seen to be proactive, aren't you? And as you said, not just the fairly obvious, we'll drop your price in terms of everything else. So this all goes hand in glove with being that proactive agent. So many of those proactive agents you were talking about before that are so well known out there in the industry. So talk to me, where do you see this going in the future? Is this kind of where it needs to just be at the moment, or as the technology improves and increases, is this just going to be a whole new vista for the potential for what you can do?
I think technology, like you said, it's ever getting better. It's always, and we're trying to keep on top of the technology to try and keep, you know, to the most to standard, up-to-date software. And we're actually pushing for even animating the virtual furnishing. So we've had a couple of projects now that you can actually have a photo and everything moves into the space. So it's showing you, right, here's where the bedroom will go, here's where the bed, it all moves into one. So it's almost like a video. Yeah,
it's a bit like sort of grand designs when they show something that kind of pops up. So we get that a lot from developers. But we think that more agents should be doing it because it's really cool for social media. If they're famous for their video content, this is completely unique. We've never seen animated version.
I think it's really well. Again, you know, I've always said you guys, you guys know photography better than anyone else out there, and of course, there's nothing more important in the marketing of a property here. So this again is just a perfect evolution for you to be applauded for the innovation as well. I think that innovation from a technological standpoint, but also with the creative thing, is where it should be really, really exciting. So I'll reiterate again, please do either reach out to them directly and just mention Kerfuffle, or of course go to the DCTR on kerfuffle.com and just get in contact with them. And I think that's take advantage of that offer before it disappears, basically.
Yeah, definitely. So we've always tried to get across the point that we're a studio first. So we have a platform, but it's just sort of part of our business that you can do business through. But the important thing is that we're people, and we speak to so many people every day on the phone, email, just to give advice and that kind of thing.
Yeah, we're so keen to collaborate. So if you do want to get in touch, literally just call us. So we're here.
Yeah, I get the impression you were, you would collaborate. It seems you're too nice people not to. So that's again, well done, guys. Thank you very much. Can't wait to catch up with you in the future, see it and get some feedback on this, and certainly love to see some examples as well down the line. That would be absolutely fantastic. For today, though, Tom and Bex, thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.